Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Zen class, which we hold every month here in in Tokyo. Today, yesterday, we had I had a chance to meet a group of, I think, 11 people from France and from Canada who are staying here for 2 weeks in Tokyo and in Nagoya. They are not sort of Buddhist practitioners, but they were interested, and I think the aim, the purpose why they came to Japan, as I heard from one of the people, was to sort of experience or to learn about the so-called Japanese spirituality or Japanese religion, and also how it relates to culture and also tradition. So they visit not only temples, but they also visit some centers with where they can practice martial arts, and they also have some seminars about culture and and business and things like that. So why I'm saying that is that yesterday in the evening, they here in one of the temples, I was asked to have a Zazen, what do they call it, like Zazen experience meeting, kind of 1 hour of introducing to them what sitting Zazen is. And then after 1 hour, we had a chance to talk, and actually it was not the first time, but because many people come here, and in this way, as we hold this monthly Zen class here, I try to keep it really on a sort of elementary level, on a basic level. So every time we go through, or I go through instruction how to sit, and so because people who visit here are they have never sat before, or they just sat once or twice, and they are really interested in that, and they would like to continue, or they want to find a group, and for different reasons, but they're not, I would say, there are no advanced sort of practitioners. That's why it's always simple and spoken in basic terms. But coming back to this meeting yesterday, so I talked with some of them, and I realized, and they also told me, one man from France, he said that really he wants to practice at home. He really tries, but it's very difficult because he's already, I think, 62 or 63, and all of his life he was sitting, he has been sitting on a chair in his company, and really he didn't have a chance even to sit straight. So he said, for me, the biggest obstacle when it comes to regular practice is that I cannot sit on this cushion. And it's actually, because when you come to Japan, and when you go to a monastery for a retreat, or if you visit some temple where they sit, so in many cases, especially in this Soto tradition, they kind of fixed on the traditional way of sitting, and they allow only 2 ways of sitting. So it's called half lotus or full lotus. So traditionally, you are allowed only to sit in these 2. But when we go to the West, and as you are probably watching from, I don't know, from Europe or from the States or from other different countries, and as I go and meet people with from different countries, so, well, of course, there are people who sit in full lotus, but it's really minority. There are people who sit in half lotus, but it's like maybe half or even less. And there are many people who sit the so-called Burmese, as we say, Burmese pose, and also in Japanese sitting, which is called seiza. As I'm sitting now, it's called seiza. So in Japan, in many cases, when you go to a monastery, it's not allowed to sit in seiza. But I remember, for example, when I started to practice in Europe, so I could sit only in seiza. I couldn't sit on a cushion because I had so much pain in my knees, and I couldn't stand it actually in the beginning. So so they are struck or they are confronted with this difficulty, which means that you have to sit, and sometimes when you go to a temple, they don't care if you can sit or if you cannot sit. They say, just take zafu, the cushion, and you just sit facing the wall, and that's all. There is no instruction, there is no sort of exercise to, or like stretching, or to make your legs flexible, etc., etc. So, and they don't look at how old you are and whether you have some disability, etc. You have this cushion, you just sit and shut up and sit, I would say. And then he was actually sad, very sad, because he said it's very discouraging. So sitting in Seiza or sitting in Burmese position is one thing, and then there is another thing, which is sitting on a chair. And then I said to him yesterday, and to a few other people who said, well, if you cannot sit on the cushion, it's because of your age or because of some disability, or maybe you had some accident and you have problems with your knees or with your back, and it's really difficult to even sit straight. And it's you see that people sit for like 20 or 15 or 20 minutes, and it's, well, I wouldn't call it Zazen, it's just waiting for the bell to finish the round, and it's just struggle and like hell. And so I'm not surprised that after such an experience of sitting for 15 minutes in such a position, they say, no, thank you, no more practice of Zazen, because it's not for me. And they are really discouraged. So, so one of the solutions, as I said to him, is this chair, all right? And today, for as I probably once I did it with the chair today, but today I would like to introduce how to sit on the chair, so that you can, those people who cannot, as I just mentioned, for any reason sit on this zafu on the floor, you can try a chair and sit really in a well balanced position and practice Zazen on the chair. It's also very useful because you can practice in this way, for example, when you sit on the train. So, as you know, well, at least here in Japan, when you have the seats on the train, so many people like lay back, and some of them sleep, some of them, or all of them probably, play with some games on smartphones, or listen to music, or read some book, etc. But they lose this precious opportunity to really sit in this Zazen-like posture, so that you can sit. I will explain in a moment. So you don't lean on the back of the chair or on the seat, but you can sit on the edge, and you have a very beautiful position. And you don't have to sort of sit like in a Zazen, so that people would take pictures of you and sort of poke fingers at you, or I don't know, maybe some would call the police because you look strange or something. I'm not talking about that. But even if you sit like that, you can put your hands on your knees, or you can just set it like that, or even if you have a book, even if you have a smartphone, you can still read some news or whatever you do with your smartphone. But you keep this position, and it can be a very good chance for your practice outside, right? So you don't need a cushion, and you don't need to bend your legs and show how good you are at sitting in a half lotus position or full lotus position. And but instead you don't need anything actually. You can sit on the seat and you can do it. In the same way as I will say to you later when we have kinhin, or walking meditation. So again, you can practice it at the bus stop, or you can practice it when you go home from the station. You can practice it when you go for a walk, different kind of place. So it doesn't have, what I mean is that we have the so-called ZEN pattern, which is you need a cushion, which it has to be black with a white stripe there at the back. Otherwise, it's not good, or you need to dress like this or like that, and it doesn't have to be like that. We can go a little bit further, or we can go a little bit wider, I would say, and try to make it into more like a soft way. So not to be so much narrowed down or sort of strict to the rules. The basic rules, as in whatever way you do it, still are the same. But so the essence is the same, but how you do it can be a little bit different. So I don't think you have to be so much into the so-called Zen tradition, because then you can be really, you can become a victim of it, rather than it does, you know, it can be like clutched within the so-called Zen. It's called like the Zen pattern, right? But as we know, our practice of Zen is to go beyond this so-called pattern, right? To get, not to be hooked on this pattern-like thinking and behavior, etc. So we very often, being constricted by the rules, we are very often sort of going the opposite direction, right? So today I would like to explain to you how to sit on, how to practice Zazen on the chair. And this is the chair that we use here in Japan. It's, you can, well, probably in the West you cannot find such a chair, but maybe a similar one. I think in Europe or in the States, chairs are bigger. So, but this is actually a very good one. So I will explain to you how to sit on the chair. Just one thing before we start. As we are, if you sit, and this is the back of the chair, so sometimes it's a good idea to, if you have a blanket, or if you have I don't know, maybe you have a yoga mat, or maybe you have some other thing, or like blocks or something, not too high. So it's a good idea to put maybe 2 or 3 centimeter, or maybe a little bit lower, of a blanket or something that you can put underneath the rear legs of the chair, so that, as you can see, the chair leans a little bit to the front. And when the chair leans a little bit to the front, it gives you the same, exactly the same thing as the zafu gives you. So as I always say, zafu, or the cushion, is not something we sit on. Of course we sit on it, but it's not something to sit on, but it's something that supports your practice, right? And how it supports your practice, when you well, I show it every time, but when you sit on the cushion, so as you can see, when you sit on the cushion, it's not so much about sitting, but it's actually the most important part of the cushion is this, as you see behind me, this thing here, which is a little bit like, what do you call it? Bulging. If you say bulging, or like you have some thing, the part here. Yes? Why? Because then you have this sliding position. So I don't know if you can see, but it's not flat. If you sit on the cushion on the middle part of the cushion, on the center part, then it's flat. And when it's flat, your knees go up and you start to collapse, and you sit like that. Sometimes people sit like that. Or if you're not flexible enough, you sit like that, right? But when you slide down, as you know, as we do in Zazen position, and you allow your knees to go down, so then you don't need so much here to sit on, but the most important part is the thing that is giving you, well, I don't want to use a dirty word here, but it's giving you a kick here in your buttock, right? And it supports you. So this is the triangle shape here. That's why I just said, when you sit on the chair, and when you think that this is the rear part of the chair, and you put something under your knees, then it gives you the same idea. You see, this you can see that this is a cushion, so it is exactly the same. So it's not flat, because when it's flat, naturally your spine is like scissors, right? When it's flat, you go like that. But when it's triangle, you open. When it's flat, you go like that. When you slide down, you open. It's the same here. When it's flat and you sit on the chair, as we do on the train, or maybe you eat at home, leaning on the back, etc., against the back of the chair, so then you try to sit like that. But then when you move it a little bit, and then you see this sliding part here, and you sit on the edge of the chair, so then you open. Yes? So you have like this, and then you open. The same with chair. I will show you in a moment. So here, the most important part about the zafu, the cushion, is the thing that is giving you this support underneath your buttocks, right? So this part here. That's why it's very important when you have a cushion not to have this cushion too soft, because it's too soft, and when you sit, for example, for 30 minutes or maybe longer, so then it becomes flat. And when it becomes flat, you don't have anymore this support from the back, and your sitting bones they slide down, and you start to sit like that, and your Zazen looks like you struggle all the time to keep the position, but you have nothing there. You have nothing there because the cushion is no longer there, it's flat. Right? That's why it cannot be flat. It has to have something here so that it gives you this support. You see, in Japanese you say "ganbare," so it says like, good luck with your practice. The cushion maybe whispers to you from the back. Yes. So then you don't need you don't exert any effort into your practice because it's all because of the cushion. That's why the cushion is all that you need for the practice, at least on the physical level, because it gives you this very good support here at the back, and you can keep this position for a very long time. Even if you cannot sit in a full lotus position or half lotus position, you can sit in a Burmese or like way as I'm doing now, and it's fine. Yes. Because it's all due to the fact that the cushion gives you this support. So the same idea is with the chair. You see? So when you sit, it becomes I'm sitting here, and then it becomes it's like a triangle. Yes. Exactly the same with the chair. When you sit on the chair, you don't need to put another cushion on the chair. It's enough to have a chair. Now I don't have anything to put under the legs, so it's a little bit unfortunate, but still I checked this chair yesterday with these people from France, and it's actually very good. Even if you are a little bit taller or the guy was a bit big, still it was good for his size. All right. So when you have a chair, I don't know if you can see. If you have a chair. Yes. So the idea is the same as if you were having a cushion. You don't sit on the chair like that because after some time you feel it's actually you're becoming tired, because you need to have this movement to keep your back straight, and it's a tension. You feel a tension here because your back naturally starts to sit like that, you see? So you sit, again, as I said, it's very important to have something underneath the rear legs. I don't have anything now, so, but anyway, you can sit like this. So you can sit on the edge of the chair, here. And then the legs, how far they are, left leg. What was the space between left leg and right leg? Well, it's not like you don't sit like that. All right. You don't sit like that as we sometimes see macho sitting. Yes, they sit. You sit like that. No. It's even according to Japanese etiquette, how you sit. For example, when you talk with someone, when you have an interview, or when you have some talk, sometimes you can see on the internet how two people are talking. So it's really easy to see if they know the etiquette by how they are actually sitting. Yes, so one person can sit leaning on the chair, the other one can sit like this, or you can see like some people sitting like that on the tray. But here, it's of course we don't sit like that. When we have this principle, Zen principle, we sit well, more or less. The width is equal to the width of your body, right? It not too tight, because if you sit too tight, you can feel tension here. But also, as I said, not too wide. All right. So, but more or less the same width as your pelvis here and your body, okay? So this is the most important thing. And then again, I don't know if you can see, legs are in the 90% here, 90 degree here. So you don't sit with your legs sort of protruding to the front, because when you sit for a longer time, you feel this tension in your body, and at the same time you don't have your feet sort of tucked in, because you slide on the chair and you fall down. Okay, so you sit in the straight position here. Again, I will show you. I don't know if you can see. Yes. And this is all as far as the position. So as you can see, I can keep, if I have some problems with my knees, for example, still I don't need to bend, and I don't need to do any yoga or stretching, whatever, to sit in Zazen. I can do it easier way. And all other points are the same, yes? So you can, you have your two of your heads. One hand goes down, the right one, and the left one goes up, and it covers, as you know, and you sit like that. And then you see the ears are in the same line with the shoulders. The head is naturally straight. It's not bent down like that, because then you feel it's heavy, and all the gravity brings you down to the floor, and you feel you're tense in the neck. So you are naturally open. Yes, your hips are in. So you keep the natural S curve of your spine. And it's very comfortable. If you, I don't know, maybe you haven't sat even once in such a position, so try. You can eat food like that. You can have a meal in this position, even if you have a chair here. You can read a book like that at home, when you don't need to read book like that, as we always do, right? On the train, or when we sit at home, we always, when you have a sofa or a chair or whatever, it's always this collapsing movement that we have. But then, if you remember and you remind yourself that there is this beautiful actually posture that gives you so much strength and makes you so much lighter, and then it influences the quality of your life, of your daily life too, right? You don't even call it Zazen, or you don't even call it whatever, religion or anything like that. You just simply change the way you sit. That's all. It's so simple, right? So if you have a smartphone, you can still use your smartphone using your hands like that. If you talk, you sit on the chair like this. When you go on when you go for a walk and you sit on the bench in the park, you can sit like that and breathe, right? You can talk because naturally your throat is open. There is no constriction here. You don't sit like that. You don't sit like that. It's naturally straight here. If you have another person to have conversation, you can converse with this person. If you have a book, you can read a book. As I said, you can have a meal. Or if you are on the train, if you're on the bus, and you have a piece of seat there where you can take this position. So again, remind yourself that instead of down, lying back and sort of sleeping, you can wake up by sitting straight, yes? And it's all about like waking up to this moment, yes? You wake up to this moment. You don't need the cold water. You don't need someone slap in the face. You just wake up by changing your position, your sitting position, yes? We can call it train position, train Zazen, okay? And then, as I said, you put your hands as we do in Zazen, and you don't close your eyes. So the rest is the same as with regular position, yes? A regular practice on the Zazen. Your chest is open, you breathe through your stomach. Your eyes open naturally. And then if there is someone who needs your help, or if there is some situation that you react to, this is it's not a reaction, but naturally it becomes a response. Yes? So then, if you are sitting in Zazen, then you can stand up and you can help this person, or you can pick up something from the floor, or you can do something that is needed of you, right? So let's try, if you are sitting, maybe you're on the train, I don't know. If you are somewhere on the chair, so, or if you are on Zafu, so please leave Zafu for a moment and try to sit in this position. In Buddhism, there is the Maitreya Buddha, which is who is called the Buddha of the future Buddha, the next Buddha who is supposed to come, be born in this world. If you see Maitreya Buddha's pictures, how he sits in meditation, he sits on the chair actually. So maybe this chair is something that, well, for us as humans, is there is some significance, right? People, or well, it can be also a sign of degradation, and sort of, people are no longer able to sit on the floor or on the grass, so they sit on the chair. But well, it doesn't have to be like that. If you sit on the chair, it doesn't mean that you are worse from someone who sits on the floor. It's not like that. Yes. So sometimes people are very shy and they are very kind of ashamed, maybe, that you see other people in the group, they sit on the zafus, and only one person, even if I see that this person really struggles a lot and he cannot, he or she tries to bend their legs and they cannot, but you have this ego there that I'm not going to ask for a chair because people will look at me as sort of as a one who cannot practice or something. So I think that to ask for a chair is, like, culturally speaking, is sort of like, people feel kind of intimidated or something, and then they say it's kind of worse because the ideal one is on the cushion. So it's not true. If cushion is there for you to practice, it gives you a support to practice, but at the same time, if you cannot sit on the cushion, because of your physical disability, or you had some problems with health, or you had some accident, so cushion becomes an obstacle actually. So it's like we want to prove that we are perfect practitioners, but we very often find ourselves on the cushion for 10, 20 or whatever minutes in pain, and that's all. So why cannot we just grab some chair and really experience what is the real quality of Zazen, rather than just waiting for the finishing bell, right? So it's also a very tricky mechanism behind our ego, that so we cherish something bad, we don't need chairs, we need cushions. It's not like that. It's something that supports your practice. In the same way when you stand at the bus stop, but still you can practice very well. So you don't even need a chair, right? So anyway, so let's try to maybe sit for a moment in this position as I just said to you. So once again, sit on the edge of the cushion of the chair. You can stay with your hands for a while and feel how you actually see how you feel, sense how you feel. If it's comfortable, you feel open, or rather you feel like you are going to make some effort and or maybe you have some pain or tension here or there. So try to adjust, right? And then, as I showed you, traditionally speaking, you put your hands below your pelvis. And you breathe, breathe in, breathe out through your nose. Don't close your eyes. And as in Zazen, it's really, when you sit straight, naturally straight, whether it's on the cushion or whether it's on the chair, as I'm just doing it now, you feel this sense of attentiveness or alertness, right? There is no sleepiness. You really feel like your senses are sharp. So this is what it looks like as far as Zazen on a chair. So once again, if you have a chance to, if you are on the train or if you're on the bus or even if you are at home, maybe you are waiting for something, or maybe you are, even if you're watching TV, so instead of lying on a sofa or sitting like in a kind of collapsed like position somewhere in your house, then you can remind yourself of this position that I have just introduced, and you can try to introduce this in your daily life. All right, try to do it. Of course, if you can do it on the zafus as we do it every day, it's also fine. But for some reason, if you cannot sit on the zafus, or even if you sit on the zafu for some time and then you feel that you have so much pain in your legs or maybe in your back or for any different reason, or even if you feel sleepy, so then if you sit on the chairs, as I said, it gives you this sense of alertness and attentiveness, so it's not so easy to fall asleep, right? And it's easier to fall asleep when you're sitting on the zafu than on the chair, because then on the chair it's more dangerous, so you have this sense of alertness, and still you can continue your practice. So this is one point that I would like to, I wanted to introduce to you today, share with you. And then there is another thing that I would like to share with you, which we do every time, which is in Japanese we say kinhin, which is I call it just walking, in the same way as you have zazen, as we say just sitting. Or only sitting, and kinhin we could say it's just walking or only walking. Yes, so you don't walk and do something, but you just walk. All right, so I will say to you how to do it, and even if this walking is very slow, so if you go for a walk, maybe it's a little bit maybe not strange, but sort of it will not be a walk because it's very slow, so it's kind of so it's another thing. But again, when you have for example, when you are at home, and for the same reasons that I just explained to you, for example, you want to practice, you want to make this practice your daily sort of part of your daily life, but for some reasons you cannot do it when you sit. So again, you can, for example, spend 15 minutes, or you can spend 10 minutes, or even 30 minutes, or even 1 hour if you want. And if you have 2 or 3 meters in your room, whether it's a hall, or whether it's a dining room, or living room, or bedroom, or even bathroom. So again, if you have just a few meters there, so that you can take these few steps, it can be also part of your daily practice of Zen when walking, yes? So again, it's something that you can incorporate in your daily life too. You don't need to go to monastery and to buy a flight ticket and spend lots of money to do the same thing in a different country, so you can do it in your own room. Well, I do it every time, but I explain once again. When we stand before we practice this just walking part, so then your posture is exactly the same as the posture when I was sitting on the chair, or when we practice when sitting on the cushion. So as you can see, I'm standing straight. You don't stand like that, but you know that your ears are in the same way with your shoulders. This is the basic thing that you keep, right? So it's exactly the same position which you take when you sit on the zafu or when you sit on the chair, but that one now you stand. So the only difference is that your legs are straight. That's all. But here it's exactly the same. So your head is straight, your throat is open, you can move, you can talk to other people in the same way, your chest is open, your hands are open, you feel open to others, yes? You don't feel constricted, sort of collapsed and not like that, but you feel open, you feel welcoming everything that is, or everyone that comes to you, yes? when you talk to someone, it's better to talk in an open way rather than you close your ear, you close your hands on the chest and you sort of avoid the look, and as we sometimes do, right? But again, on the other hand, you can open and you can embrace, you can welcome other persons. So this is exactly the same the attitude that you have when we practice this walking part. Okay. So again, take this posture, or just stand when you're standing. And before you move forward, you can put your hands on the solar plexus area here. So, in a traditional way, we have this, it's called shashu in Japanese. So you have the left thumb of your hand closed here, and you put it here, and then you cover it with your right hand. Well, you can cover it on sort of as a lid on top of that too, or you can keep it like that. And it's also, we can call it bus station walking. Bus station, just standing part. So when you're waiting for someone, you can spend a minute or 2 minutes, or if you live in a place where buses come every hour, so you can spend even an hour when you're at the bus stop. And instead of being disrupted by all those digital things that we do all the time, you can switch off your phone, your headphones out of your ears, and then again remind yourself. And this position, this standing position, is very good because when you keep your hands on here on this below your rib, you feel how your stomach moves in and moves out. So you can bring the awareness to your breathing part too, right? When you're in a hurry, we always breathe with our lungs, but when you sit or like stand like that, you can actually feel how the lower part of your stomach moves in and moves out. Yes? So it can be also an anchor for your practice. And just follow the breath, breathing in, breathing out. So as in Zazen, when we sit, it's just sitting and breathing. Now it's just standing and breathing, right? And you don't look around. Just allow your eyes to fall down naturally in front of you. And when the bus comes, you jump in and you go to your destination. Or even if you're on the bus, you can continue. If you have a, what do you call it? What do you call it? I forgot the name. The thing that hangs and you can keep it on the bus so that you don't fall down. So again, you can have this kind of just standing part there, right? Or even like that. It's not an obstacle at all. But you don't hang on it, but you really feel grounded all the time, right? You feel grounded on the floor of the bus. Otherwise, you would just swing to left or right. Okay. But so this is the standing part, and again, you can introduce it in your daily life. You can have 5 minutes of just standing, or even 30 minutes of just standing somewhere, maybe in your room, or if you want, you can face the wall. It might look strange when a family member comes and asks what you are doing, but well, you can just say, I'm just standing, right? Or I'm just looking at the wall. Nothing strange about that. And then when we move to when we go on with kinhin, or with just walking part, yes? So you start from this position, and you take an in breath, and on the out breath, you move with your right foot half a step, so that if you imagine that my hands are my feet, so this is my right foot and this is my left foot, and these are the tip of my toes, right? So then you move half a step so that half of your right foot reaches the tip of your toes in your left foot. And then again, you move with your left foot so that half of the left foot reaches the tip of the toes in your right leg, and you proceed, okay? And then you synchronize it with your breath. So when you breathe in, and actually now on the out breath, you move out. You move forward. Then again, breathe in, and on the out breath, you move forward with your left foot. And then again, breathe in, and on the out breath, you move forward. Yes? And you don't look around, you just let your eyes rest and feeling the sensation of your feet, the soles of your feet with the ground. That's why it's nice to do it without shoes if you are doing it at home. Now it's summer, you can do it without shoes outside too, maybe. And you proceed very slowly. You don't have to hurry, so that from the outside you're like a robber. So that from the outside, the person who would look at you, she or he wouldn't even notice that you're proceeding. Yes? So very slow. And in the beginning, it can be kind of mechanic, so that you have to sort of, you have another agent which remembers that you have a breath and walking. So you have like 3 things. But then, well, when you do it, it's actually, you just do it and you just walk then, actually. So there's just breathing and moving. You don't need to be aware, or you don't need the third party that tells you that now it's out breath or in breath or something. In the beginning, it can be a bit mechanical, but then it's natural, right? Okay. So so this is it for today, and these 3 parts. Today we didn't use a cushion, but we do it every time. So of course, well, it's nothing new as far as the instruction. Today was a little bit different because I showed you, well, thinking about these people who might feel kind of sort of put aside because it's always about this cushion. So I wanted to introduce to you the method, or the way how you can do actually the same practice but sitting on the chair, and make it part of your daily life, even if it's not the formal practice of Zazen and with bells and things like that. But when you eat, when you have dinner, or when you have meal with your family, or when you read a book, when you play some game, whatever you do, you can still have this Zazen posture in your daily life. Straight, naturally straight spine and hips and all these parts that I introduced. And again, it's not about sitting only. You can do it also outside when you are at the station or on the bus, on the train. And then you can add a few more parts, which is the just standing part and just walking part, which we call kinhin. So you have beautiful 3 parts of sitting, walking, and standing. You can also lie down, but maybe lying down is another thing. So then in this way, you feel that every part of your physical life, we would say, so whether you sit, whether you lie down, whether you stand up, even if you run, you can actually make this practice part of your daily life. It doesn't have to be something sort of outside of what you experience every day. When you combine these elements into your daily experience, then the quality of everything that you experience changes. So I hope you can taste it in your daily life. All right. So thank you for joining today, and we see each other in July. If you are in Tokyo at the time, You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I don't remember the date of the next meeting, but you can check it there. If you have time, please join so we can spend some time sitting here together. Thank you very much and see you next time.